yo, your children are at home waiting for you. Your daughter is waiting to see her dad. Your son is waiting to see his dad. But you're out here throwing bottles and getting in altercations with guys that you don't have no business getting in beef with. Like, what has this producer got over you? Nothing. What, he called you a name or he scuffed your shoe? Like, no one is out here looking for problems with you, Chris Brown. You're looking for problems and any excuse to wild out.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always.
You are now listening to Pree Da Production with your host, Majaro.
What is up, my tribal people? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm your tribal chief, Majaro, aka Image. I already know what I'm going to say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Just trying to grow the community. And by sharing this to your friends and family, that goes a long way in helping us do that. Now, let's get into the video. Welcome back to the channel, guys. And today, we're going to be covering an update on the Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion situation. Whoa, where do I begin? Middle of last week, it was reported that Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times in his cell at 7:30 a.m. He was rushed to hospital and was reported that he had about 8 stabs in the back, 4 to the front of his chest and lungs, 2 to the back of the head, and 1 to the side of the face. I don't know if that adds up to 14, but let's just pretend it does. He had 2 collapsed lungs, had to be assisted with breathing, and he survived. He survived. There was a lot of rumours saying, oh, this was a hit. This was someone trying to get him gone. There was rumours saying it was because of a prison yard altercation where my man, Tory Lanez, he's not my man, but Tory Lanez, disrespected this inmate's wife. But then it was later found out that this inmate doesn't have a wife, and he was in prison in the first place for a life sentence from over 30 years ago, where he was in a relationship with a minor. He awed her and unalived her. He was, I believe, 18 to 21 at the time. She was 13. And because of that, obviously, he'll get that gone. Get that out of the streets. And he was serving life sentence. The reasons for him attacking him, we still do not know. But all the rumours, some of the crazy ones, had been disproven with some of the facts that have come out as to who the person was. And with everything coming out, you know, there's a lot of people saying, yeah, that's what he gets. That's what, you know, domestic violences and people who attack women get, X, Y, and Z. He was guilty of shooting Megan. That's what he deserves. Play stupid games, win silly prizes. Right? A lot of people were saying that. A lot of women were saying that, let's be honest. Only for 24 hours to go by and his attorney and his father come out and say, we have new evidence. A security driver for Kelsey, who was Megan Thee Stallion's best friend at the time and who was in the same car when the whole altercation came out, he has reported to his defense, Tory Lanez's defense, that he could hear the conversation with Kelsey and someone else where she admitted what really happened. According to the bodyguard, or driver, whatever you want to name him, Kelsey was the one who had ownership of the gun. She was the one that fired it off 3 times. Tory Lanez then smacked it or grabbed it out of her hand and then it fell to the ground and fired off 2 more times. If you listen to the evidence at the time of the trial, that's basically corroborating with the events of how many shots fired and in what order, who was in what side. It all correlates to what we already know. But Tory Lanez's defense is saying this is new evidence. After all, there were so many truths and untruths, so many lies, so many flip-flops, so many stories being changed from what they said at the time to what they told, the police officers at the time, to what they said on the stand. People not showing up to the trial. The crime scene not being preserved properly. DNA tests not being had on everyone involved. Like, the mismanagement by the police in all of this was so bad. I was like, how could you send my man to jail? Because everything that should have been done, whether it was protecting the site, testing everyone on the day, having the statements within 24 hours, that was not done. A lot of people were able to go off and do their own thing, talk to the defenders or defense beforehand, get advice of people, and a long time had gone before even following up on initial statements and asking deeper questions, especially when it comes to Kelsey and Megan. Tory Lanez was locked up within the first gunshot. He was already going to jail and serving time off rip. So they were like, it felt like they didn't care about what happened, what really happened. It felt like they were just trying to get a man gone. Some people could say under someone's influence, or a lot of strong people or powerful people. Rock Nation had a vested interest in getting Tory Lanez out of here because he was doing very, very well and they wanted to sign him. And then Quarantine Radio kicked off. And Tory Lanez was like, this is the type of crap I've been doing independently. Why do I need distribution or to sign a deal to Rock Nation? I'm popping. I'm even more popping now from when you first contacted me. I've been doing things by myself for a long time. I can go independent. I could do what my boy Chris Breezy does. He's been banned from the industry essentially. He's been blackballed. Like, no one with an authority or a brand really attaches themselves to Chris Brown because of, what we know he's capable of doing. But he's still selling out tours, still breaking records, and all doing it by himself independently with his own money and getting 100% of return for himself. He doesn't have to share it this way or that way. He doesn't have to sell off his catalogue or sell the rights to his music. He makes it and does it all by himself. I'm going to just do what he does because I'm that talented. And apparently, Jay-Z didn't like that. Jay-Z felt disrespected and felt like it was a slap in the face after he invited him to the Rock Nation brunches and, got him into rooms with certain celebs that he normally probably wouldn't have been able to get into contact with. And that's how he even met Megan Thee Stallion. But let's not relitigate what the court case. In my opinion, that was literally a banana republic type of courtroom. Like, that was terrible. How you send a man to jail where his DNA was not found on the gun? A bit of residue was found on everyone, right? That doesn't tell you who shot the gun. But what tells you who shot the gun is DNA testing not being done on all the women. And then the other person involved in this whole altercation, Kelsey, the best friend of Megan Thee Stallion, who was originally effing Tory Lanez, but later found out that night that her best friend, Megan Thee Stallion, was also effing Tory Lanez. The prosecution decided not to test the gun for her DNA and decided to give her complete immunity to do with anything involved in this case. And then completely retracts what she ever said in her original statements to prosecutors and then just pleads the fifth. She plays everyone and then gets to go home scot-free, and my man's in jail. Now, there's going to be a lot of people saying, oh, Tory Lanez called Kelsey that same night and apologised profusely for what had happened and how things went down. Come on, he must have felt remorse. That's why he was so sorry. I mean, isn't that evidence enough that he shot Megan? No, if you listen to that phone call, he never said what he was sorry for, really. He just said, I'm really sorry, I was fucked up. I was wilding, I shouldn't have, been doing that. I didn't want to do that to y'all. I didn't want anything to go down like this. He never specifically said what he was sorry for. So you can't read that as an admission of guilt. But during the court case, I believe that's what sank him. I believe him being so sorry and so remorseful, the jury was like, he must have been sorry for shooting her, because why would you feel so sorry be calling your original link to be so sorry? Like, the only thing they could, I assume, link it to was he was sorry for shooting and now everyone's involved. Boy, it's going to be a crazy next couple of months, because we got the P. Diddy trial kicking off, and now this stuff happening with Tory Lanez, reopened old wounds, and now new wounds now, no pun intended for Tory Lanez. But, man, this past week in hip-hop has been on trial. You got one of the four founders of hip-hop in its current iteration with Bad Boy Entertainment and X, Y, and Z, P. Diddy Combs, Sean Combs, whatever you want to call him. He's on trial. Tory Lanez, his drama, his domestics allegations and shooting up Megan Thee Stallion and all the lies by everyone involved. Like, that's a whole mess. That's been a mess. Like, crazy. That's riled everyone up. Men versus women again. And now, Chris Breezy, has been arrested on another assault charge, a grievous bodily harm, a GBH Section 18 in the UK. Allegedly, he got into it. An altercation ensued in a nightclub with a music producer, in which allegedly Chris Breezy Brown smacked him over the head with a bottle and proceeded to curb stomp his ass on the dance floor. Allegedly. This happened in 2023, so the way it's coming out now, it seems that my man had that in the cut from time and was waiting for Chris to pop over in the UK and try and do something. But he saw the opportunity and was like, yo, that European tour you're planning on doing, that tour you're rehearsing for, yeah, you're gonna have to stop that, buddy, because you need to come with us. He was arrested in Salford, Manchester, and was remanded because, rightfully so, Chris Brown is Chris Brown. And at this point, I do not feel sorry for Chris Brown. At one point, I think it was probably before the whole Karuchi situation, finally ended, I was like, Chris Brown is remorseful. He's sorry for what he did to Rihanna. Let's hope he can improve himself and get better. And let's give him a second chance. We all deserve a second chance in life. And what he did was egregious. We don't condone that under any circumstances. But relationships are complex. And let's give him another opportunity to redeem himself. But after that whole Karuchi Tran incident and beefing with Drake, bottles being thrown in the club, beefing with this man, beefing with that one, community service this, community service that, assaulting a woman, paying her off, assaulting a guy, paying them off probably. I don't feel sorry, or no, not even sorry. I don't I don't have any hope for Chris no more. Christopher is Christopher, and Christopher be brawling. Christopher Brawling Brown. Christopher Breezy Brawling Brown. That's what we're going to be calling him now. Because this guy cannot keep himself off these streets. He was only let into the UK 3 years ago. This happened when he was in the UK doing his tour. You've just been allowed in a country after 20 years or so of not being able to step foot on UK, let alone do a whole tour and make money off the people. Because Chris Brown's got a whole fan base in the UK that be waiting for him to come. Waiting. I was one of them. I was like, when I was younger, I was like, when Chris Brown comes, that's the first artist I'm going to see live, X, Y, and Z. But that time's been and gone. So when he finally came and everyone was able to see him, I was like, I wish I could go, but hey, money for a run, innit? I didn't have the money to do it. But if I did, I would have been gone. But now, that time's over. Chris Brown, he's being made accountable. Because, brother, you're 40-something. Like, how many times does life have to tell you, you can't be in these streets, my guy? You have to have self-control, my guy. I know you've got some anger problems, but this is unacceptable, bro. This is unacceptable, my guy. Yo, your children are at home waiting for you. Your daughter is waiting to see her dad. Your son is waiting to see his dad. But you're out here throwing bottles and getting in altercations with guys that you don't have no business getting in beef with. Like, what has this producer got over you? Nothing. What, he called you a name or he scuffed your shoe? Like, no one is out here looking for problems with you, Chris Brown. You're looking for problems and any excuse to wild out.
I don't want peace. I want problems, always.
Acting like you're untouchable. Man, in the UK... in the US you can get away with that stuff by paying a man off. In the UK, it don't work like that. And you're going to have to be held accountable. Chris, it's been too long. You're too grown to be doing this. And whatever happens to you, happens to you. I'm not trying to defend you. Like, it's about time now. I'm sorry. I want to feel bad, but in my heart of hearts, this was always going to happen. This was always going to happen. The history is too long, and you're, at this point, so stupid is ridiculous because you get allowed to come back to the country and to think you're going to be in your best behaviour. I'm not even going to the clubs. I'm here for work. After work, I can go to the club and maybe a couple nights here and there. Disappointing, man. Chris Brown had the ability and potential to be where Michael Jackson was at a point in time, but the Chris Brown Rihanna situation, that stopped that really, because after that no big old organizations or any big names were given a cosign like that. Only his friends like Tiger, Bow Wow, that's still fighting for him, saying, yo, free Breezy. And it was kind of funny how the Tory Lanez situation and Chris Brown's situation are interlinked, because Tory Lanez, got chefed up in prison. Chris Brown says free Tory Lanez, and now Chris Brown's in jail. And now Bow Wow saying free Breezy. What next? Bow Wow's gonna be in jail? Like, it's crazy. Hip hop needs to clean its act up, because man and power, it can be a corrupting thing. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Last week was wild. That's all I have to say. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
I be kidding on my foes, even though I got it all on my own. Success sweet, yeah.